You're told the hitting and biting is just a phase. But what if it's not? What if I told you there's a secret way to know for sure? In this video, we are breaking down an insane 2024 study that reveals everything, and it will blow your mind. Dealing with a toddler is one of the hardest challenges on Earth. And while some aggression is totally normal, for a crazy 10–15% of kids, it doesn't stop. So scientists did something insane. They asked, what separates the kids who grow out of it from the ones who don't? I found this crazy 2024 study that is a complete game changer. These researchers followed over 1,000 kids for years. What they found is insane. They discovered 9 different aggression paths, and the craziest part? Your reaction is what decides which path your kid takes. So I read the entire study, and I'm giving you the 7 biggest signs that your kid's aggression is a massive problem. Here are the 7 signs you have to watch for. Sign number 1, it's getting worse. This is the biggest red flag in the entire study. This is the one that should make you stop and pay very close attention. We're not talking about a bad week or a rough patch after a vacation. I mean a clear, undeniable trend, month after month, where the aggression is escalating. It's getting more intense, more frequent, and more severe. Maybe 6 months ago, it started with a simple push at the playground over a shovel. You told them, "We don't push," and you moved on. But then, a month later, that push turned into a full-on smack when another child got too close to their block tower. The reaction was bigger, faster. And now, you're getting that dreaded call from daycare. Your child bit someone. Hard. The behavior is climbing a ladder, and it's heading in a terrifying direction. This is what the researchers identified as a major warning sign, a pattern of escalation. For most toddlers, physical aggression should be peaking and starting to decrease as they get older and develop more skills. But for this group, the opposite is happening. It's a crazy negative loop. The study talks about how this works. The more they act out with this escalating aggression, the more you, the parent, get stressed and overwhelmed. Your reactions might become harsher, you might yell more, you might feel completely lost. And guess what? That reaction of yours, that stress, it literally feeds the fire. Your reaction makes it worse, which makes them act out more, which makes you more stressed. It's a spiral, and it's pulling both of you down. The research is crystal clear on this. For the majority of kids, aggression should be getting better, not worse. So if you are charting this in your mind and you can see that the incidents are getting more intense and happening more often, doing nothing is the absolute worst possible strategy. This is a signal that what you're currently doing isn't working. It's not a time to wait and see. It's a time to decide that you have to change your approach. Right now. But what if it's not getting worse, just not getting better? That brings us to our next insane sign. Sign number 2. It's not getting any better. This pattern is just as worrying, but it looks a little different, and it's incredibly frustrating. The aggression starts at a level 10, and it just stays there. It never improves. This isn't a slow escalation. It's a relentless, high-level plateau of intensity. The researchers gave this a name, the high stable pattern. Imagine this. That intense, screaming, hitting, throwing aggression you saw in your child at age 2 is still there, exactly the same, at age 3, and now maybe at age 4. The frequency doesn't change. The intensity doesn't change. It never goes away. While all the other kids at the playground are starting to learn how to share and talk through problems, your child is still the one who immediately resorts to hitting. You're not seeing any progress, any sign of them developing new skills or new ways to cope with their frustration. Parents in the study described this as feeling like they were walking on eggshells 24/7. Every single day feels like navigating a minefield. You become terrified of saying no. You hold your breath when you serve a meal, praying you cut the sandwich the right way, because you know the wrong move could trigger a 45-minute meltdown that looks the same today as it did a year ago. You start avoiding play dates, birthday parties, even trips to the grocery store because the public explosions are just too much to handle. Your entire life starts to shrink, revolving around trying to prevent the next inevitable eruption. This is a giant warning sign that your kid is completely stuck. Their emotional growth is frozen in time. They are not learning to cope. They are not developing new strategies. And the study is screaming at us that if you don't do something, nothing is going to change. This pattern has a powerful inertia. It will not just fix itself. The research shows that without intervention, this high stable pattern is incredibly likely to continue, leaving your child further and further behind their peers in emotional development. This feeling of being stuck points to something even deeper, which is our next sign. Sign number 3, they have zero chill. Now we're getting to the absolute core of the issue. At the center of all this aggression is a kid who feels everything at 1,000,000%. Some kids are just built differently. The study makes it clear that their emotional responses are insane, and they literally do not have the brakes in their brain to slow down. Their emotional thermostat is broken. What might be a small disappointment for another child, like a toy not working, feels like a world-ending catastrophe to them. This looks like a meltdown that goes from 0 to 100 over literally nothing. We're talking about the classic example. You gave them the blue cup instead of the red cup, and the result is a full-blown, inconsolable tantrum that lasts for an hour. To the outside world, it looks like extreme defiance or a child being dramatic. But here's the secret the study found. This isn't them being bad. This isn't a calculated attempt to manipulate you. It's a biological signal that their brain is completely, utterly overwhelmed. Think of it like a computer with too many programs running. Eventually, it just freezes and crashes. That's what a meltdown is. Their brain has been flooded with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for control and decision-making, goes completely offline. They are physically incapable of calming down or thinking logically in that moment. It's not a choice, it's a cry for help. When your child is kicking and screaming on the floor because their cookie broke in half, they aren't trying to ruin your day. They are communicating, in the only way their overwhelmed system knows how, that they are drowning. They are drowning in a sea of emotion they cannot manage. And if you respond with punishment, with anger, with "stop crying right now," you are essentially throwing water on a drowning person. The research points us toward a different path, recognizing this for what it is. It's not a discipline problem at its root. It's a regulation problem. They don't need punishment. They need a lifeline. When a kid is totally overwhelmed like this, another problem can make it 1,000 times worse. Sign number 4. They can't use their words. This one is a massive game changer in how you see the aggression. Think about this for a second. If you can't say, "I'm mad," or "that's my toy," or "I need help," what do? You use your body. You use the tools you have. For a toddler with a language delay, their hands and their teeth are their primary tools for communication. The study found a huge correlation. The most aggressive kids often had the worst language skills. I want you to really put yourself in their shoes. Imagine wanting something so badly, a turn on the slide, the toy your sibling is holding, but you literally do not have the words in your brain to ask for it. Imagine another child snatching your truck, and a wave of pure injustice washes over you, but you can't scream, "Hey, that's mine!" So what happens? A push becomes your only way to communicate, "Move!" A hit becomes your only way to say, "I'm angry." And a bite becomes the most primal way to scream, "That's mine, and I don't know how to tell you." Every single aggressive act can be seen as a failed communication attempt. This reframes everything. Your child isn't just being mean. They are trying to talk to you, but they can't. This is a massive skills gap, not a character flaw. And this is why traditional punishment is so ineffective for these kids. Punishing the hit doesn't work if you don't give them the words they need to use instead. Telling them no biting 100 times is useless if you don't simultaneously and patiently teach them how to say, "My turn, please." You can't punish away a skills gap. It's like seeing a child struggle to read and taking away their books as punishment. It makes no sense. The problem isn't a lack of willingness to behave. It's a lack of ability to communicate. You have to be their translator and their teacher. You have to give them the script, model the words over and over so they have a new tool to use. Until they have that tool, their body will continue to do the talking for them. This communication gap leads to another huge challenge. Coming in at number 5, they can't focus or control themselves. This is where we see a perfect storm brewing. Is your kid always moving, totally impulsive, and seems to have the attention span of a gnat? The study found this was a massive, explosive combination when paired with aggression. It's a dual problem. Their brain has no impulse control, and their brain can't focus long enough to learn an alternative. Let's break down the impulse control part first. For these kids, there is zero pause between feeling and action. The brain has no stop sign. The second they feel a spark of anger, they hit. The instant they feel the desire for a toy, they grab. There is no moment of reflection, no inner voice saying, "Wait, should I do this?" It's just a raw, unfiltered reaction. They are a passenger in a car with no brakes. Now, let's add the second piece, the attention problem. This is why it feels like nothing you do works. It feels like you're talking to a brick wall. You get down on their level, you look them in the eye, you calmly explain, "We don't hit because it hurts our friends." And the entire time you're talking, their brain has already moved on. They're looking at a piece of lint on the carpet, hearing a bird outside, thinking about their truck. The lesson doesn't sink in. It's not that they are willfully ignoring you, it's that their brain is cognitively incapable of holding focus long enough to absorb the lesson. This combo is one of the most dangerous because the kid is struggling to control themselves in every possible way. Think about it. They have big, aggressive feelings. They have no ability to stop themselves from acting on those feelings because of their impulsivity. And they have no ability to learn from your correction because of their inability to pay attention. It is a locked-in cycle of failure. You get frustrated because they're not listening, and they get frustrated because they keep getting in trouble for things they can't seem to control. The study shows this combination is a huge red flag for persistent, long-term aggression. And when these problems start stacking up, it points to an even bigger warning. Sign number 6, it's never just one thing. Listen to this, because this is what separates a phase from a real problem. Extreme, persistent aggression is almost never the only problem. The study proved that it's not a standalone issue. Instead, it's part of a huge cluster of challenges. The aggression is just the loudest, most obvious symptom of a child who is struggling on multiple fronts. Think of an iceberg. The hitting and the biting you see on the surface is just the tip. But the researchers found that underneath the water, there's this massive, hidden block of other issues. The study proved that these kids who show patterns of high aggression are also way more likely to be super anxious. Their aggression might actually be a fight or flight response to a world that feels scary and overwhelming to them. They also have way more trouble making friends. This creates a heartbreaking cycle. They get rejected by their peers because of their aggressive behavior, which leads to loneliness and social isolation. That isolation then fuels their frustration and anger, which in turn leads to more aggression. They can't build the positive social skills they need because they keep getting pushed out of the group. On top of that, these are often the kids who can't follow simple, two-step directions, which links back to those attention issues. And here's the craziest part the study revealed. The aggression isn't the real problem. It's a giant, flashing symptom. It's the check engine light on the dashboard of their development, and it's telling you that the entire engine is in trouble. When you see persistent aggression, you have to become a detective. Don't just focus on stopping the hit. Ask yourself, what else is going on? Are they struggling socially? Do they seem unusually anxious or fearful? Is their language delayed? Are they hyperactive? The study is telling us to look at the whole picture, because the aggression is a sign that their entire development is in trouble. And that's why you have to take it so seriously. This leads us to the final and most unbelievable sign of all. And the final, most shocking sign? These patterns start super early. This is the craziest, most mind-blowing, and honestly, the most important fact from the entire study. They started tracking these kids at just 1.5 years old. That's 18 months. And for the problem group, the path they were on as a toddler was the exact same path they were on as an 8-year-old. Let me say that again. For a significant portion of these kids, their level of aggression at 18 months old predicted their level of aggression in elementary school. This finding completely destroys the myth that all kids just grow out of it. Yes, most do. But for that high-risk 10 to 15% of kids, this is not a phase they grow out of. It is a stable, predictable trajectory. The highly aggressive toddler becomes the highly aggressive child who becomes the highly aggressive teen if nothing changes. This is not a drill. This is not my opinion. This is a research-backed fact from a study of over 1,000 children followed for years, telling you that the wait-and-see strategy is the biggest and most dangerous gamble you can take with your child's future. Every time someone tells you, "Oh, don't worry, my kid did that too. They'll be fine," they are offering you a platitude that this research proves can be dangerously wrong. Waiting for it to pass on its own is like seeing a fire in your house and waiting to see if it puts itself out. For 1 in 10 kids, that fire is just going to get bigger. The study found that these patterns are incredibly stable if left alone. The path is set early. But here is the most powerful part of this terrifying fact. The path is only set if you do nothing. Knowing this, seeing these signs in your own child, doesn't mean they are doomed. It means you have been given the incredible gift of early detection. You are seeing the map of where your child is heading. This research is telling you that if you see this pattern of early, stable, high aggression, you cannot wait. Waiting will not work. You have to be the one to step in. You have to be the one to change it. Look, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this because you have the power to change everything. This research proves that what you do is the most important piece of the puzzle. You are the only one who can get your kid on a better path. If this video blew your mind, smash that subscribe button because we're dropping more insane content just like this. And I want to hear from you. Comment below with what you're going through. Let's go.